Welcome back to Tiger Nation. This is Carson with you. Jacob.
Two.
Kaileb, and our guest speaker.
Mr.Brad Kilburn.
Okay, so I want to ask you how you feel about Mr. Carmen and Dr. Elif leaving you here by yourself.
That's an awesome question.
Was it scary when they left and you was the only one here for a minute?
It was kind of scary, just because I'd only been here 1 year, so I was just kind of getting the feel of how things worked and all that. And the next thing I know, I'm the only guy left. So it was a scary moment, but I think it's all worked out with Dr. Ballantyne and Coach Rendell coming on board. Got a good thing going. Made some needed changes and some changes that are better for the students here at the middle school. So,
well, we can wear pajamas now. So
it's all right. That's right. That's right. It's all worked out.
What's your favorite thing about what you do?
My favorite thing about what I do is I've always been a teacher. Been a teacher for a long time. But in this role, I get to help students in a different capacity. Get to kind of help guide them through their whole school career and not just focused on one particular subject, and all that. So also, along with helping the students, I get to help the teachers. So that's kind of a different way that I get to help student learning is by helping the teachers. So it's a neat position to be in.
Where did you grow up, and how did that affect who you became?
All right, so I actually grew up here in Hardin County, but I grew up across the river. Still live across the river in Adamsville. But I went to West Hardin Elementary as a student, and then went through the middle school here. And then after my middle school years, I did move over to McNairy County and go to high school at Adamsville. But it made me proud to be from Hardin County, and helped me to become, Hardin County to become a better place. So, it's just it's a neat experience being able to work where you grew up.
So, what's the difference between the middle school that you went to and this one? Is there a big difference?
There is a ton of difference. No difference in the physical building itself. The building itself looked, for the most part, exactly the same. But as far as, different administrators, of course, I went to school a long time ago, so things were different back then. I think it was a lot easier. The classwork that we had to do than what you guys have to do. I know that they're asking you to do a whole lot. So that was kind of one of the probably the biggest differences between middle school now and middle school then. Is what the classwork looked like. But past that, I don't remember a lot about middle school. I just kind of come and put my head down and did my thing and made it through the 8th grade and moved on with life. So.
Well, that's mainly the hardest, just trying to get through it.
Just trying to get through it.
But I do want to say something about Ole Miss. How y'all gonna lose to Kentucky?
How do we lose to Kentucky? That's a good question that I don't know the answer to. We lost to Kentucky at home, which made things worse. So I don't know. It was one of those deals where missed a field goal kick to send us into overtime, and should never put it on the kicker. But that's what it came to, and he didn't execute and put a notch in the L column. So.
Well, at least y'all are 8-2 or whatever.
Hey, that's right. We go to the Swamp this weekend to play Florida, and we take care of business down there, and then come back home to play Mississippi State. Take care of business there. We should find ourselves in the playoffs, which is what the end goal was at the start of the season.
What's your best advice for someone interested in your career?
The best advice for someone interested in my career would be, to take care of business here at the middle school or high school or wherever you're at. We never expect perfection, but you should always strive for perfection. Give everything you got, do the best that you can. got to find a college to go to and take care of business there, which can be a more difficult, challenging task because then it kind of becomes on you and not on your parents so much. And then just work your way through the system. I started as a teacher's aide. I graduated college with a teaching degree and couldn't find a teaching job, so I had to get my foot in the door somehow. Started as a teacher's aide doing lunch duty and playing with kids outside on the playground, and got the opportunity to take a second grade class and move from there on up to fifth grade, and got my administration degree, and was fortunate enough to get this opportunity last year. So it's just kind of like what Carson said earlier, putting your head down and doing what you got to do to get through it.
Now, it sounds to me like y'all are relying on y'all's kicker because y'all lost to LSU by 3 points.
Hey,
Did y'all have the ball in the fourth quarter to kick?
No, that actually came down to a defensive stop that we did not make on the LSU game. We had them down, and it was one of those games that we pretty much won the whole game until that last drive, and our defense didn't hold, and LSU scored and beat us by 3.
Well, do you miss your little buddy, Mr. Carmen?
Mr. Carmen, I do miss Mr. Carmen. Mr. Carmen and I got to be very close with our offices right across from one another. So I still get to talk to Mr. Carmen fairly often. He'll call me on the school phone, or he'll flip his radio over and holler at me on the radio. So we talk fairly often. We actually got to talk to him yesterday at one of our principals' meetings. So I stay in touch, but I do miss working with him each and every day. He taught me a lot. Was a good example to follow. So,
well, we went to the high school today, and I realized how hard it'd probably be to be a principal there. And I feel like y'all got the little easy side.
Well, I don't know about the easy side, but it is. I can say it probably is easier here to be a principal than maybe at the high school, because there's a whole nother grade level that's added to it, so a few more students.
Yeah. What's one piece of advice you can share with the student, like us?
With the student, make wise decisions. I say that every opportunity I get to be on the intercom in the mornings or in the afternoons or whenever. Just think before you act. Typically, when I have students in my office for behavior or whatever, that's one thing that they mention. I didn't think about doing that, or I just didn't think when I said that or when I did that. So always think before you act. Run things through a filter. If it's going to be something that builds people up, by all means do it. But if it's going to be something that tears them down, that's a pretty good indication you should swallow that idea. So.
Okay. Why do you like Old Miss?
I actually love Ole Miss, and the reason I love Ole Miss is because that's where I went to college. So I went 2 years to Northeast Mississippi Community College in Booneville, and a guy that was there that I was friends with from high school invited me down to Ole Miss because that's where he was headed to become a pharmacist. That wasn't my plan. I was actually planning on leaving Booneville and going to UT Martin. And once I got down to Oxford and to Ole Miss and saw the campus and saw the town and all that, saw the football team, I kind of instantly fell in love and knew that's where I needed to be. And I try to get back there as often as possible.
What did you want to originally be before you started being a principal?
And I'll be honest with you, going into high school, being a teacher was never on my radar. It was never something I ever really intended or wanted to do. It's kind of funny, I wanted to own a sporting goods store or be a fireman or be a UPS man. So I had to kind of narrow it down to those three options. And through some different opportunities that I had to work with students at church and whatnot, I realized that I was called to be a teacher. So coming out of high school, that's what I went to college to be, and never wavered from there.
What's a unique thing about you?
Man, there's one thing I pride myself on is the fact that even as a high school student, college student, or adult, I can pretty much get along with anyone and everyone. I can get along with the sports crowd because I can talk sports. I can get along with the gaming crowd because I play video games some. Get along with the hunters because that's one of my things that I do when I'm not at school is bass fish and duck hunt and turkey hunt. So I can fit into any conversation, usually find something in common with pretty much everyone. So that's one thing that helped me get through college and get through adult life a little bit easier is, if I can find common ground with people.
I heard you were a youth pastor at Hopewell.
I am, yeah. That's
How did you become a youth pastor?
well, that's kind of a long story in itself, but in a nutshell, I had in 2017, my wife and I were pregnant with our second child, which his name's Cooper, and through a car wreck, we found out that there was some things going on with him that wasn't typical, and that he had a very slim chance of ever surviving and being born. And just we kind of saw the journey that we went through with that and how God brought us through that, and how Cooper's doing well. He's a second grader at West Hardin. He's a normal kid, and kind of promised God when we got through that process that what he had done for us, we were going to return to him in service and in ministry. So that's how I kind of that's how God called me to be a youth pastor.
That is a great
That's
thing.
great.
Yeah, I worked at Counts First Baptist for a little while, 3 years as a youth pastor, and I just recently, within the last year or so, became the youth pastor at Hopewell.
What is your favorite childhood memory?
My favorite childhood memory, my grandparents lived in the house beside me, so it doesn't boil down to one specific memory, but getting off the bus in the afternoons, I would come in my house and throw down my book bag and go find my grandfather, and we would be in the woods hunting squirrels or rabbits or just walking through the woods and him teaching me about nature. There was a lot of that, and that still means the world to me because he's no longer here, but that's something that I cherish and hold on to.
Yes, sir.
What's the most important lesson you've learned?
The most important lesson that I've learned, I guess, is if you want it done right, do it yourself. If someone gives you a task or you come up with this idea or whatever, and you want that carried out how you want it carried out, it's probably better to just do it on your own rather than delegating that out to other people. So that's kind of a philosophy that I live by, that I do in my work and other things in life, is that if you want it done right, do it yourself.
Now, what is things that you think you improved in this middle school that you made better?
That we made better. I think that's a hard question, because it's not necessarily me by itself, but us as a team working together to improve things. But I think this year, I think we implemented the 1, 2, 3 breaks kind of from the beginning of the year, giving you guys an opportunity on Fridays to have some downtime, some free time.
Well, somebody went and ruined that.
They did, and that goes back to that thinking before you're acting type deal, and understanding your consequences and all that. But hopefully we'll be able to bring that back soon. But I think that was a good thing. I think there's a lot of things that we've changed over the course of the last year or so, and we'll kind of have to wait to the end of the year to see if those things are considered improvements or they need to continue being changed. So
The things that have changed are the behavior that I've noticed.
you think so?
Yeah, we've noticed
Kids are doing better, and I don't understand
a lot
why
of the
a lot of kids wanting to fight.
Yeah, I don't know
last
that either.
year, the 7th graders, like a lot of us, like all 3 of us here, we were bad troublemakers. Like we've all changed.
Y'all was never bad troublemakers. You just made some poor
I
decisions.
made some bad decisions last year.
Yeah.
And I agree. Carson, I'm particularly proud of you. We talk about you often about the changes that you've made and whatnot over the course of from last year to this year. And I'm sure to tell Mr. Carmen about those changes anytime I see him about how well you're doing. So we're all proud of all three of you, all four of you. I know Tay's not in here right now, but
Well, what really drive me to start acting better was football because you got to be good to play football.
Yeah.
it does
And-
have something to hold some accountability to. But at the end of the day, it's you and you just being cognizant. You're being thinking of what you're going to do before you do it, and just making better decisions. So
And I also, the more that I've been doing better, like not getting in trouble, the teachers have started liking me more.
that's it. And they're more apt to help you and more apt to go that extra mile when you're going to go that extra mile for them. So it's just life is easier when you're not constantly having people on your back, watching your every move and all that. And people tend to be happier with you and more patient with you and all that. So that's another lesson we can take from all this.
And all these kids wanting to fight, I mean,
There's no point. to
there's
fight.
really no point because, like, just over some of the stupidest stuff.
Yeah, some of the small things. Some people walk around with chips on their shoulders. You find that as adults, too. It's not just a student thing. But fighting is never the resolution. It may be a short-term solution to the problem, but it's never the final resolution. In the end, you have to sit down and you have to work it out in a civilized manner and talk it out and kind of understand where the other person stands on the circumstance. And if you can do that, then you can solve a whole lot of problems in your life and make things a lot easier on yourself. So.
What is your vision for the school this year?
We talked about our vision yesterday with Mr. Nathaniel Provencio, and we kind of
Who's that?
Mr. Nathaniel.
Yeah, I don't know what that
To be
is.
honest, it sounds weird.
Yeah, he was actually on the webcast last year when he came, but he's somebody that's coming in and helping the teachers work through this whole PLC process that we're working through.
What's a POC?
PLC is a professional learning community. So your teachers get together on their planning times and talk about what they're doing, and they try to kind of coordinate their lesson plans and things so that everybody's doing the same thing, and you don't have one teacher doing something and another teacher doing something else.
Yeah, there was a lot of that last year.
Yeah, so that's another improvement that we've made is just everybody kind of being on the same page. And if you're going to do something in one English class, then you're going to do it in the other as well. So.
That pretty much sums it up for the podcast
Yeah.
today.
I got a question for y'all.
Mm.
Yes, sir.
Are y'all excited about Thanksgiving break?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
very.
Yeah.
Me too. Gonna sleep late. Deer
I'm
season.
going hunting.
Deer season opens
I'm
up
going
tomorrow
fishing.
morning, so probably get some deer hunting action in. Duck season opens up the weekend after Thanksgiving, so we'll be out in the water trying to kill me some ducks. But yeah, I hope y'all have a good and restful week. Then we come back for 3 weeks. Then we're out for Christmas. So that's something else to look forward to.
And
Yeah, it is.
we'll catch you on the next podcast.
All right, appreciate you guys.